Hey everyone, in this video, I just want to show you a simple use case of using an Excel workbook as your data source. We'll do some processing on this information, and let's say that we want to figure out how many units of our product we produced on a given shift using a WayScript layer and this Excel data. Let's jump right in. So inside of WayScript, what we'll do is create a new layer. We can call it whatever we would like. I'll name this one Excel processing. If you have a WayScript account, you can log into WayScript and you can clone this directly to your account if you want to follow this example in its entirety. We'll click on the develop view, and here we'll need to upload our data. So I will pull that over and drop it in. Once we have our data source, we'll need a way to work with it. If we're using Python, we'll probably want to make a requirements.txt. We'll just put all the libraries that we need to use in our Python script. So we'll make sure we have pandas in here. Now to process this using Python, we'll say Excel processing.py. You can name your scripts whatever you would like. Inside of our Python script, let's import our library. So import pandas as PD. This Python library makes it very straightforward to work with our data whenever it's in an Excel workbook or in a table. Now, if we want to upload essentially that data into our Python script, we'll call it some variable. The standard here is to say df, which stands for data frame. We'll use that library, PD. There's a method called read Excel, and then we'll pass in the path of that workbook. Since we're working in the same directory, this will just be the name of our data, which is sample reports.xlsx. Once we have this, we've already connected to our data source, and we could use whatever pandas processing methods that we want to at this point. To keep this very simple, we'll just find out the total amount of products produced. So we want to know how many units we produced on a given shift throughout all of our data. So to do that, pandas has a simple function. We will say something like grouped data frame will be equal to df, which is our data source here, dot group by. This method takes a list of all the columns within our workbook that we want to group by. In this case, we're just grouping by shift, so we can put shift. You could imagine if you wanted to also group by the date, you could add that here inside your list, but we'll keep it simple and just keep it as the shift. Our last step will be to include how we want to handle the other columns. In this case, we're trying to get the total amount produced, so we can use dot sum. There's other methods that you can use here, such as min, max, and mean, but we'll keep it as sum because we want to know the total amount. And finally, we will just say something like print grouped df. Once we have all of this, we'll go down to our terminal. We will say pip install. We will read in our requirements.txt. Once we've fully installed pandas, we should be able to say Python. The name of our script is Excel processing.py, and we will hit enter. We see that we have an error here, and that's just a dependency error. What we'll do is we will copy this and we will add it to our requirements.txt. So open pyxl. We'll save this. We'll rerun our pip install read requirements statement, and then we will execute again. Working through the feedback in our terminal, you see that I have a key error, and that's because in our spreadsheet, this is a capital S in shift. So I will change that, and now we will run again. This time you see that we get back all the units produced across the different shifts. You see that it also pulled out the employee ID summation and added it here. So if you don't want that information, you could just change this to a square bracket and put in what you do want. So units produced. We'll save that again and we'll execute once more. And now you see that we just get the units produced. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know and I'll be happy to help. Until next time.